So hello everyone, this is the Sports Show podcast, and today we're joined with Jamie Conlan. How are you, mate?
All good, Dar. All
Brilliant,
good.
brilliant, mate. So today we'll be talking about a wee bit of Jamie's professional career, and then we'll get into obviously Conlan Boxing and different events that has happened. So Jamie, what got you started in the boxing?
Um, I played football for Celtic boys, and my dad. I was very small. I wasn't great, if I'm being brutally honest. But my dad told me to get better. Michael Owen. He had seen Michael Owen he was small as well, and he went to boxing to get stronger. And that was the reason why I got into boxing. Didn't really care for it before that, and that was kind of the whole thing was to get better at football.
Yeah, and obviously you had a good amateur career, but are you happy the way it turned out? Like, was it ever your goal to go to the Olympics?
I think it should be every boxer's goal to go to the Olympics. The Olympics for me is the pinnacle of the sport. I think every kid who starts out, their main dream should be to go to the Olympic Games. It's obviously recently it's been more tainted than what it used to be, but that was always my dream. We grew up watching the Olympics. Everything from the Olympics was I grew up watching. I had a tape of the '92 Olympics, which was Wayne McCulloch and Michael Carruth and Paul Griffin and all them boys who, it was the most historic Olympics for Ireland. It was their only male gold medal. But yeah, when you turn pro, it's a bit different. As I got to that stage in my amateur career, I was kind of fed up with boxing, fed up with I was working at the time, and Michael and me were at the same weight. And I said, this is something that's going to be happening a lot. We got to the final of the Ulster Seniors. So it was pointless. I think he was going to achieve more, so it was the right move to go pro.
Yeah, and because you had a good amateur career, do you think that made the decision to go pro a lot easier?
Back then, not everyone would go pro. It was weird. Now everyone and their mother can turn pro, but back then, only a selected few. There wasn't a big pro boxing community. It was amateur, stay amateur, get the funding. That's where you had professional boxing. There was no real money in it, but only the best kind of went pro. And I trained with John Breen in his gym at night time. Our boxing club trained with John Breen. We didn't have a gym, so we trained in Breen's gym. So I seen the pro environment. I used to train with Ian McGee, Kevin O'Hara, Colin Moffat, and Mark Winters and stuff. Paul McCloskeys. So we used to be around pros a lot more, and yeah, being around that environment made it an easier transition.
Yeah, and in your professional career, you won the WBO European title in Belfast. How special was that?
It was good. It was a good night in the Waterfront Hall. It was the first title you kind of get. I remember winning that one. I think I actually won it in the Odyssey, but against Bernard Smoes was when I won the title. But I had a good night defending in the Waterfront Hall, which was a great knockout and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was the start of things to come. But it was still very hard back then. I was still working. I was still working at the time and still trying to juggle both of them.
Yeah, and now you have Conlan Boxing started up. What got you started into that with you and Mick?
It was listen. Staying in boxing's always been. Boxing is a dream to be involved in. Being a boxer was when being in the game as long as we have has been a blessing. It was just something me and Michael kind of sat down to do and said, let's continue this going forward. Set something up for the future, manage the fighters, and he obviously had a good close relationship with Kurt Walker and him being our first signing and stuff like that. But we kind of set it up for the future. Boxing is a very short career in terms of fighting. So we were thinking, obviously, what is next? What's the next step? How can we change things? What can we do to go forward? How can we grow something here in Belfast? And we think there is something here to be grown on. We have quality fighters on the island that haven't got the exposure or haven't got the backing of a promoter or a management company to get them where they need to be. And that was kind of what we identified it and took a step and took a big leap in 2021 to kind of start up the company. And we started with the Fela last year, and that was kind of our first big event, and it was chaos because it was mad to set it all up. And yeah, it was something that the kind of way very, very briefly to needs to happen.
Yeah, and you've had 3 events so far in Belfast. What more can we expect?
I would say at least another 4 before March next year. We're looking at different cities. We're looking at Galway potentially in October. We're also looking at Belfast in October. We've won the purse bids there for Pody McCrory's European title opportunity. So we're going to try and put that on before the end before Halloween, just depending on his cut healing up. That would be next. Helping with Top Rank to get Kurt Walker, Carel Malloys, Paddy Donovan out on there on this side of the Atlantic and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we have about another 4 dates penciled in before St. Paddy's Day.
Yep, and just as you mentioned there about Conlan Boxing winning the bid for Pody McCrory's big fight. Obviously, a few weeks ago we had a unbelievable fight, but now he's fighting against a guy 18-1. So it's a big fight for him. How big is this for Pody?
Listen, I've waxed lyrical about Pody for a long time. You know, he's riding the crest of a wave. The EU title is a very prestigious belt. It sets him up again for the EBU European title. So it's a massive fight, a massive night. Pody has coming off a career best win, a phenomenal win. He's now becoming more and more of a household name in Belfast. He was a cult figure, but he's really gathering momentum. This is a massive opportunity for him to top his own bill, to kind of be his own headline act. We're looking at various different venues and various different places to bring it, but it's a real tough ask. Gustav Tamba is a legitimate European champion. Pody's a challenger. We've luckily won the bid to have it in his own backyard and have his own, home comforts here and bring the other guy away from home. But it's a big ask. It's still another tough step for him to take. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this journey goes with Pody, and I think the world is his oyster at this moment in time.
Yeah, and as I said there a few weeks ago, the big event at the SSE Arena in Belfast. Just before we'll go through a few fights here, the second fight, Colin Murphy versus Ruben Farrell. What a fight to kick things off, wasn't it?
Fantastic fight. I didn't think it was going to be so even. I know a lot of people picked Murphy easier than what it was, but Farrell really stepped to the plate, and I think there was no shame in a loss there. It does not stunt his growth in terms of his professional career. Murphy obviously took a big leap forward in his professional career. I think he can jump into an Irish title now. Both lads left it all on the line, and it showed how much they wanted it. There was a moment, I think, in the fourth round, I think, where they stood in the ropes and they just traded blow for blow for about 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and it was class because it really showed how much both lads really wanted this win and how much it meant to them and what it meant to their careers. But again, I think Callum should really be hunting for an Irish title next. And I think Rudy should maybe move down the super bantamweight. I think that's what Mark is looking to do. Cian Doyle is there, and they can maybe do another Celtic title there. So, yeah, I think it's really opened the doors for both of them. They took the risk, and the reward paid off.
Yeah, and another great fight was Carel Malloys' fight. I think I seen an interview after you were just excited just for what's next for Kieran. Obviously, you said they're a possible Galway show as well, so that'll be great for him if it ends up happening.
I think Carel Malloys is special. The performance, we knew the Russian guy was tough, very, very tough. I watched him against Cyrus Patterson, and he was really pushed. He was mixing it with him, replying with his shots, and he was digging things out to 6 rounds. So I expected 6 rounds for Kieran, really expected it, and said to him before, just relax because this could go long. But how he moved, you can see when you how special someone is, just how their movement is. Small wee adjustments, like slight hand movement, slight foot movement, adapting the range, adjusting the range, and then his execution. His punch power is phenomenal. Everyone who gets in the ring with him, it's starting to get hard to get sparring, hard to match him. And he's only had 2 fights in. But it's the small wee adjustments he makes in distance control, cutting it down, breaking it down, and then getting out of range when he's going to attack. So very, very excited for the future. Galway is definitely somewhere we like to be. this year. We're just seeing what the options are in terms of venue and size and how we put a show together. But yeah, massive crowd came up from Galway, and massive crowd from Galway went to New York. So it's something that we would like to do, is go and explore that route.
Yeah, and lastly, obviously Michael Conlan versus Miguel Mariaga. Unbelievable walkout from Mick as usual, and a good fight as well. So what do you think's next for Mick? What's he looking forward to?
He's just back in the mix now. It was a necessity to get him with someone like Mariaga, who was really going to make him test his chin, test his will, test everything that needed to be tested, and be put in the positions that he was against Lee Wood. And he adapted and showed that, he kept range, he kept distance, he kept composure, kept his head on the game. Dealt with the power very well, dealt with everything very well. I thought he just looked exceptional, world class. Again, we spoke about distance with Kieran, but again, with Michael and how to keep a puncher at bay and keep him at the edge of your own punches was key. What next? We want world titles for Michael. It seems like Lee Wood, Santa Cruz will happen in November, so that will put that one on the back burner, maybe to March. So we'll look in the interim and see what we can get. There is talk of Dogbo. There's talk of a few other guys that we're looking at. Maybe I think Michael is also mandatory for the European title, so Michael and Jordan Gill could happen before the end of the year. But yeah, December time we're looking for Michael, early December. If it's not a world title, we want something that's very close. So world title eliminator.
Yeah, Jamie, thank you very much, mate, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. See you later.
Thank you, mate. All the best.
Thanks.